Dear brothers and sisters, as we gather here today, and this weekend just before the holiday season, this is that end of the year when within ourselves we want to share. This is time of the year when people do food drives. We want to give to those who we think are in need. And this is that time of the year when you might make a donation to charities. You get all the things that come in the mail that we want to help someone, whether we know them or not. And this is the time of the year when many people feel it's a time of giving, it's a time of sharing. And generally, we give and we share of what we think are the resources that we have. Most of us think that our resources are at the monetary level, at the physical level, and those are the arenas in which we give. So there might be, givings to the needy, or to food drives, or to clothing drives. Many people might even go and give, donate blood at this time of the year. Feel like giving so that help could get to someone else. And then, as we are in this season, where we want to share and want to give, one wonders, what is it that one should be giving or receiving? In this world, since we have focused on the physical and the materialistic aspect of life, most of the giving happens in materialistic objects. And when we start to think about it, then as children, there's always this wish list that we learn to create in this part of the world to give to Santa. So that we can get some gifts. So we're thinking of receiving gifts, we're thinking of giving gifts. And that's how we've been brought up, and that becomes a part of life as we grow up. But as we grow up, we need to think about what is it that we're doing. In the process of the gifts, giving and taking and exchanging, what gains are we providing to someone else or to ourselves? And so when we start to think about the gifts, most of them are in the physical domain. There might be some emotional help that we provide to someone this time of the year, some mental help we provide to someone this time of the year too. If you're a very good quote-unquote educator, you might provide your skills to someone else so that they learn things better. And those are the arenas in which we focus. As we think about our spiritual side, as we look at our faiths, as we look at the lives of the great saints and mystics and their teachings, and as we look at what were their views about gift giving and gift receiving and exchanges and things like that, what is very interesting is that they talk about spiritual gifts. We've generally been so used to all these gifts in the physical arena that sometimes, since we're not exposed to the spiritual, we're not sure what is a spiritual gift. And what is very interesting is if we start to focus on what would be lasting. It's only a spiritual gift that would last than anything else. What happens with most toys that we buy for our kids? The gifts that we give them. And they play with them for a day or two, for a few days, and they either collect in the attic, in the garage, you recycle them, and these are like temporary. They're there for a short time. They may work for a while and then they're gone. And so, if we focus on those gifts that will last and last and last, these are the gifts which will help our souls, our spirit. And so, what kind of gifts are those? The gift of learning who we are, the gift of experiencing ourselves at the level of our soul, the gift of using our spiritual state to experience the divine so that we reach states of joy and bliss like we've never experienced before, is the arena that I like to talk about. We as human beings are very, very lucky. God has been very gracious to us, even though we might not think like that. Many of us might feel that we are missing out on life. Many of us might feel that there are more difficulties in our life than we bargained for. Many of us feel like God has not given us what we deserve. And many of us might feel like, why is it that someone else seems to be doing better than us? Okay? This happens to most of us, all of us. Because we don't realize what we've received. We don't realize what we have. We don't look at what we have. We only are focused on our shortcomings that we feel because our mind puts us in that direction. If we think about billions and billions and billions of living forms, souls who are in those forms, in which there is no mechanism to truly know ourselves, let alone know God, then just coming into this human frame is a great gift in itself. And there are about 7 billion human beings on earth today. There are God knows how many billions and billions and billions other creatures, living forms. There's no mechanism for them to know the reality of our existence. There's no mechanism for them to experience themselves. There's no mechanism in them to know God. So just being in that state is a great blessing. And if we have a blessing, we need to put it to use. If you get a gift and you put it in the attic, you never use it, it's gone. So Hazur Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj would say, he says, if you're sick, you go to a doctor, you get medicine, but never take the medicine, your illness will never go away. So the gift of being in the human body we need to use. And instead of using it properly, if it's wasted, if attention is not put on knowing ourselves, attention is not put on knowing God, then this existence is gone. We all have been given, a limited time. It might seem very long to us, 50, 60, 80, 100 years. Nowadays people might be living, even longer. It might look like a long time, but as we age, it seems like time is passing by very quickly. I think it happens to all of us. When we're younger, we feel, oh God, we're never going to die. And then as time goes by and we get older, we see, our grandparents and our parents and our uncles and aunts, the people that we knew passing away, hey, this is a fact of life. It's bound to happen to us too. That the end is going to happen at the physical level. There's no doubt about it. So have we made best use of this gift that we've received? God has given us a great gift of being in the human body. And this is the first gift that we need to appreciate. We need to find out what is the purpose of this life, why are we here, how come we're different than all these other creatures, and if God has given us all so that we can be in this state, then how do we put it to good use? And so saints always talk about self-realization and God-realization. Realizing ourself, that in the human body, God has provided us with all the faculties that are required by us to know God. Those faculties in the East are called Vivek. Vivek means we can discriminate between right and wrong, between truth and untruth. So that capability God has given us. So that as we live in this world, we should be able to find out what is an illusion, what is a reality. And we should focus on the reality and experience it. This is why this path is in experiencing, not just on the theory. And that's why so much emphasis is placed on the meditative aspect. The meditative aspect is the experiencing aspect of the path. As we sit in silence, it's not that we're not doing anything. We're actively trying to experience ourselves. We're actively trying to experiment with our spirit or our soul. We're actively trying to experience or realize the realities of this existence. And as that happens to us and those who actively are looking for the realities, then with God's help they find it. A second gift that we receive is when we get some guidance in the spiritual arena. Being in the presence of spiritual master, getting guidance to experience the truth. We all have been given this spiritual eye. It's called the single or the third eye, or the Shiv Netra, or the Dasma Dwar, a gateway into the regions beyond. Just like we have eyes, we can see things of the materialistic world. The ears, we hear the sounds of this world. We have the other senses in our body. We can smell, we can taste, we can touch. So we also have this gateway between the two eyebrows. That's not opening into the world outside, that's opening into the inner worlds. And so as this gateway is open, as the attention of the spiritual guide of the master falls there, and this is open, then we can experience the divine, the inner realms, the spiritual realms, realms which are more conscious than the physical region in which we live. And so that in itself is a gift, because as for those of us who've been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond through the grace of a spiritual master, then we need to make use of that gift that we receive by putting into practice and experiencing more and more and more of the spiritual regions by being in a state where we can experience them. And this is why so much emphasis is put on meditating on a daily basis. Because we have a gift, we need to make use of it. And we need to make use of it on a daily basis, not like once in a while, but on a daily basis. And so we make use of it on a daily basis by sitting in silence, by quietening the mind. That's all meditation is all about. It's very easy to quieten the body, to find a place which is quieted easy. To withdrawal of our other senses within is easy. What is difficult is to quieten the mind. And so the gift that we receive at the time that our inner eyes open is the gift of receiving Simran. Simran are these 5 holy names of God which are charged by the attention of the Master, which is given to us at the time of our holy initiation. So when the Simran is given to us, as we repeat that, then our mind gets stilled. Because our mind would get to a state where it's not sending thoughts to us. As it's in that state, with the body stilled and the mind is stilled, where no thoughts are there, that we start to experience the divine revelations within ourselves. And we experience them as divine light, we experience them as divine sound, which are the two primal manifestations of God. Most scriptures have talked about it. It's that experience which, as we do on a regular basis, starts to get us to a state of deeper consciousness, deeper spiritual awareness, having more experiences of the divine. And as that hope happens, then as we connect with this divine power, which is within each and every one of us, it's just a question of being connected to it, we find ourselves reaping the benefits of that gift. Today, we find help in the physical, in the emotional, and in the mental arenas, coming to those who meditate so that they can deal with those arenas better. And that gift has been provided to us, so we need to make use of it. We need to put it into practice. If we don't put that into practice, then whatever we've got, we are just keeping it there and not benefiting from what has been given to us. And so this is why the saints and mystics are always exhorting us that if we need to give a gift to someone, let it be a spiritual gift. We can help someone know about themselves. We can help someone learn to meditate. We can guide them so that they can find out from themselves. Those are the arenas in which we should be focused. Because when we focus our attention in that arena, then we'll find that the gift that we've given to someone is much more beneficial than anything else. Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, who wrote much about the spiritual way, in one of his verses, and this is a loose translation, he says, if the life of one person is changed by my existence, I would feel that my existence has been successful. And you can think about how many millions and millions of life Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj changed. For him to write that if even the life of one person has changed, that I would think that my life has been successful. So when we help someone to know about the spiritual arena, when we guide someone, when we maybe suggest to them to sit in silence and meditate, those are the real spiritual gifts to give. Anything that we give in the materialistic, anything we receive in the materialistic arena is not going to be helpful to us because it's only temporary. It's there for a short period of time, and then that thing is gone. Nothing in the physical world is permanent. All that is permanent is what comes from the spiritual world. And so the gifts that are going to help our soul are the ones that we should focus on. And what helps the soul of the spirit is the connection with the divine power within ourselves, with the divine light and sound of God. And so those are the kind of gifts to focus on. We who have received those gifts should make use of them. Having received them, if we don't make use of it, then it's lying wasted. And this is why we were given the spiritual diary by Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj, not only to focus on the ethical virtues, but to record on a daily basis how much time we are spending in our spiritual practices. The spiritual virtues are very important to have because they are a stepping stone to spirituality. They are needed for us to grow on the spiritual path. But if we inculcate all the ethical virtues in our life, but if we don't experience the spirit of the soul, we haven't gained anything. It's the soul which needs the nourishment. It's the soul which needs to connect with the divine light and sound of God. It's the soul which is parched, which has been away from the Creator. It's the soul which is an opportunity while we are in the human body to connect back with God. And it's that gift that the Lord has given us that we need to make use of. And as we do that, this is that time of the year when we're thinking about God, we should realize that not only for this week or the next week, we should be spiritual, that whatever has happened, it's gone. You can't change it. It's the current moment which is important. Because based on what we do is going to have the effect on what happens later on. And so this is not the time to waste in worrying about something. You can't worry about what has happened in the past has happened. You can't undo it. What will happen in the future will be based on what you do today. So if you just worry about the future, and you just think, oh, this is not working, this is not working, this is not working, then you're not going to be able to make good use of this current moment, because this will become the past very quickly. So the path of Santmat believes in living in the current moment. So what does that mean? Make the best use of this time. And how do we make the best use of this moment? By focusing in the spiritual arena. By experiencing more and more of the divine. And this is why Sant Kripal Singh Ji Maharaj said, as people would ask him, what do we do? He said, okay, give at least 10% of the daily time to your spiritual practices. To us it might seem like a lot of time. 2.5 hours. That seems like a lot of time. But if you look at the whole day, that's only 10% of the time. We do spend time in many other activities. We do spend time in all kinds of activities. Are all of those activities useful to us? That's what we should think about. It's for us to decide what is right for us, what is good for us, and then it's for us to focus our attention in that arena. Whatever we think is good for us is where we should spend our time. And as we start to truly, truly know about ourselves, we'll realize there's the spiritual arena which is everlasting. Any gains in that arena are going to go beyond this body. This body is going to deteriorate. Any gains for the physical body, for the emotional state or the mental state, just remain with this body and they're not going any further. All the gains in the spiritual arena are the gains which will help us, which will help our spirit, which will help our soul, which will get us closer and closer to God. And we want to be one with God. Self-realization, God-realization. Self-realization is knowing who we are, realizing we're not the body, we're not the mind, we're not our emotions. We are spirit, we are soul. And God-realization is having that soul merge in God. So at this time of the year, let's think about the spiritual gifts. Let's focus on what are the gifts we need to give, what are the gifts we need to receive. Realize that God has given us many, many gifts. Let's make use of the gifts we have. Let's help someone at the spiritual level to the best of our capabilities. And that would be true giving. That would be a gift that would be useful to that person eternally. And that's the kind of gift giving or gift taking that we should be involved in. All other aspects of life which are physical, mental or emotional just remain here. We sometimes have to pass through some stage because of our past karmas. But they all remain here. Nothing out of them goes with us. What goes with us is help for the spirit of the soul. And so, as we all gather today, let's just meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Please close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeballs should be straight, focus 8 or 10 inches in front of you. As you close your eyes, those of you who have been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty and to the three great masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Savan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kapal Singh Ji Maharaj, the gracious masters and Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us here connect with the divine power within ourselves and to experience the divine light of God within ourselves. I will be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you.